somewhere in the 90s, 1990, I met this young man at Alpine Primary. I was at that point the deputy principal of Alpine Primary, and he came as a volunteer doing sports with the children at Alpine. But from the outset, he was very passionate about the sport, and during one of those times when he was busy practicing sport on the field with the children, there came guys onto the school with guns. There was gunshots, and we had to clear the field with the children. And during my engagement with Leslie, we spoke about the danger that the children was in, and that there was no alternative. The guys that shot on the school were gangsters. And so that was also the future of many of the children of Alpine Primary. And so Leslie left Alpine, but I will never forget that specific day. I think he was really emotional when the children had to run from these gunshots. And so after that, he left Alpine, and we stayed in contact. I became the deputy principal of Alpine, and then later I was a deputy, and later I was acting principal. And so as we engaged, the idea started of doing something for the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, Liz,
in reaching out to the children and making the schools challenging for the children to come to school, and providing in school and out school sports, and music, dance, being part of the school, as providing coaches.
Yeah. The fact that the children, if they leave school in the afternoon, that was a time they were at risk. I think we identified the risk periods because these children, the parents had to go and work, and then many of the parents only came home at about 6 o'clock. And in that time, besides the risk of them being vulnerable about gangsterism, the children were also vulnerable for other things. In the area, there were things like you'd find guys with there was abuse taking place, and so we started communicating, and then
we started at Alpine Primary in 2004 with the Run for Schools project, with providing coaches to the school, delivering sports goods to the schools, and from that on it was born. And back home in the Netherlands, we were raising funds. Foundation was born, a board was born, and creating opportunities to raise funds in the Netherlands, especially with running the Two Oceans Marathon.
I will never forget that.
Running, and special marathon, 56K, seeing the Two Oceans, a huge event here in the Western Cape in South Africa, and it's a nice moment to run as charity. And that's what I think what makes Run for Schools special, is that if you run for charity, you also see with your eyes, not only you run and experience a great race, but you also experience what Run for Schools is, because we take you to the program, we take you to the schools, you meet the children, you engage with the children, and you see where your money goes and your donation goes. So that makes us special. And currently after 13 years involved at 4 primary schools, having a staff of 13 local people employed, reaching out to almost 5,000 children. It's special, and we keep on going, and it's so nice to be like the friends who we are for more than 20 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
We see our grey hairs. But
became fathers and grandfathers.
We became fathers and grandfathers, and I was a little boy to you. But still, that is special, and we're still in touch, and
it's amazing.
And always can rely on Andy, where is on little things or questions. He stays at around the corner of Alpine with his family, so he's with 2 feet in the community, and that's special.
The other important thing that I need to emphasize around what Run for Schools did and still doing in the communities, the children that came to the program, I remember especially the aftercare program, many of those youths that came, some of them are adults now, some of them even play professional sports, some of them not only play, but they are professional sports persons, not only males but also females. And so they do, and for some of them it started with Run for Schools, a safe place where they could come and play and also get food, so many a times, which some of them couldn't get at home. They also got a sweater or t-shirt at first. I remember when Leslie got some sweaters from some place. I think it was a World Cup sometime. Remember the Adidas shirts that we gave? And so it started small, but now there's quite a lot of money involved. And besides the money, the fact, and this is something which I've seen now, I've been privileged to be associated with Leslie. Every year, diligently would run the marathon. I would stand there in Muizenberg and see my friend coming past. Whether it's raining or not, he would run, and he'd run for the children. And that's what he says, Andy, I'm doing this for the children. And so it's a type of gift that keeps on giving, and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And the impact that it has, because now, as he mentioned, the employment that it creates. And I know you've been working with even the guys that comes and works in the program. Some of them have been facing their own challenges, and he had a long heart to give them chances and chances upon chances. And so it's Run for Schools have really impacted Mitchell's play. The fact that there's, how many fields are there now?
Three artificial grass sport fields. So it's
Amazing investments.
Which is being used by the community, which is challenging. I always also say back home it's not always a good news story to run a foundation or to do something back for the community. It's not always a positive thing. There's also things that go wrong, or but it's the cultural differences between the Dutch and the South Africans. They will always be there, and how we interact with each other, or how we see, but the vision is always there. That we are here for the children. So that is, I think, special, and that's what keeps us going. It's the only race in what you say, like you're running for the children, and I'm a sportsman. So when I stand on the line, I want to be as fast as possible to the other line. And yes, I run for myself because I love running, and I like to compete. I like that. I like to stress myself towards a certain goal. But it's really the only race that I run anywhere in the world that gives that extra and that special thing, because you know in your background where it's all started, and when we see you in Muizenberg, but also the kids in Muizenberg, when we see them close to the finish, being in Cape Town always makes it special and warm feeling to do something back, and it's also something that I want to pass on to the other runners, and they get that. That's I can talk about it. I can speak to my friends here who are here present today about it back home, but you have to experience it with your own eyes and to feel. And
many people have come and gone, but you are still there, Les. I mean, I know many board members, and then there's new ones, and there's new coaches and everything. The sad thing, though, is still that, as much as and it is a haven, I can say this, the program of Run for Schools have advanced to many aspects, but the challenge is the community of where the fields are, where the program is. It hasn't changed much, though.
No.
The sad thing is you've had things like drugs coming in more stronger, and the gangsterism, it just seems to go from one generation to the other. So that is just the sad part, because the program don't only focus on the sport. There's also social issues that the program addresses, and that's so great about Run for Schools. And the vision that there is to expand to do more than just sport. I mean, currently you have music going, you have other type of arts going,
Yeah.
and that is great. So that is expansion of the vision.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe a lot more can come from, and I trust and know that this program will become a self-sustainable program.
Yeah, and if you talk about sustainable, I think that is one of the big things that steps that we made, especially the last maybe 2-3 years after our 10th anniversary, that we really it is self-sustainable. There is a strong team here in Cape Town with Frank Stein as a manager that is working on itself with support from us, from the board. They set out the lines, they share the vision, and that is how it's working at the moment.
Okay, that's great.
So happy to say that, and it is still challenging for us back in the Netherlands to raise these funds, because that is never
easy.
Yeah, never easy. But we also grow, and yeah, of course, I would love. It's strange, but what I'm saying now, but it would be great to say run for schools is not needed anymore. But it's also not really realistic, I think, for if I look in the future in the coming years. There's a lot of big steps to make to say like run for schools you can. And it's one of the places in the world which needs help. I always say there's so many places.
You were saying that run for schools will not be needed. That honestly, now I know there's been a lot of programs even implemented by our government, if I can put it that way. And some of it just falls down the line. And some of it have come and gone. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, that's one of the I'm proud to say. But one of the things is, you're laughing, but proud to say that we are still here, and it is not a competition between the government or other schools, but we have seen a lot of programs coming, and
so it is gone.
They're gone. The quickest they come, the quickest they're gone. And,
you've been doing good, and we know it's gonna go good.
Yeah.
It's just gonna get better.
Yeah.
As mentioned, the fact that Run for Schools is not only focused on the sport aspect now currently. There's other aspects that it has sort of embodied. In terms of the future, there were talks of looking in terms of developing leaders from within the Run for Schools program, whereas children that have been in Run for Schools would one day take lead and ownership of the program themselves. So that is part of, I believe, where Run for Schools is thinking of going.
If you see our manager, Frank Stein, was one of our learners at Northwood, applied for a job as a coach, was a coach for approximately 3 or 4 years, left Run for Schools for a position overseas, and came back and filled in the position of manager of the program now. So that's one volumes, that says it all. Nicole Gordon is one of our coaches, which was one of our students, and also became a mother, and now is a coach of Run for Schools. So these are 2 examples of close examples to where it comes from. Run for Schools kids that grew up with the program after 13 years.
Maybe getting old, Liz.
So yeah, there's a future. And there's really proud to say, because you are 13 years now, there are really successes. There's like children who get the chance to dance at events, or we bring them somewhere, or there's a girl who plays in the Bayana. There's a boy who plays PSL soccer, the Premier League soccer, who came from our school. So and Run for Schools is not about being the best, or only you have to perform in top league, or it's just about that's why we also looked at ourselves. We are always involved in sports, because that's my background a bit. But I was also pulled back a little bit. Hey, there's also children who don't like sports, who don't like soccer or netball. They would love to do games because we also play chess. We also have music and dance.
Yes,
The future is bright, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah, in case of being realistic and looking at Mitchell's Plain at whole, yes, there's a lot of challenges for the community, and a lot of negative problems if we look into the future. Challenges for the youth to get employment, to finish school, chances in high school, because I don't want to mention the dropout of after primary school, of children not going to high school, not being able to have the opportunity to go to high school, or not even the opportunity to get work. But still, I'm a positive person. I think you are as well. So if the two of us can't be positive, we can better stop.
Yeah, it
Because
is so.
it's not, so if you have the small circle around, then you try to. So.
Yeah.
Little steps, little drops.
No, I agree.
Okay.
What do they say? A child out of what? A child in sport is a child out of court. So that's
Nicely said.
starts with that.
Nicely said.